Hi, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela from BlueBearFlutes.com making another video today on Native American flute making. This video is going to be an interesting one because a lot of people have asked, how do you make that? Of course, to me it looks very simple, but I wanted to make sure that I described it in full detail so everybody could know what it took to make one of these wonderful flutes. You've seen me walking through the woods there with my old pal. Here he is. This walking stick flute has been around with me for a long time. If you haven't seen it, we do have a walking stick flute demonstration video, which was made forever and a day ago. And that video, this guy here, may not show so much of his age as he does today. Anyway, so I wanted to show you what it takes to make one of these. Now, you've seen me playing it, of course, on the demonstration video. You've also seen me play it at several other opportunities. There's a mouthpiece over here on the side. That's really the easy part. You blow in here, and then basically it fills this chamber up with air. When it gets to a certain pressure, shoots it right across the track and making the sound just like other Native American flutes. The walking stick flute, just a brief history, to my knowledge, hasn't existed for very long. Probably not more than maybe 50 years, I think. Now, I could be mistaken. However, that's the kind of way we're looking at it these days. The fingerings are exactly like some of our other 5-hole fingerings. It has one minor difference other than the side of the mouthpiece that you blow on. It has an opening. I think you can kind of see that down here. The opening of this one is rather large, and it lets the air escape out, basically tunes the flute to whatever key it's tuned to. And even in the case of the ones we make traditionally tuned like this one is, this hole down here needs to be a certain size and a certain distance to basically let the air out so that it does properly, because we like to keep the bottom, oh, sorry about that, patterns. We like to keep the bottom of these closed off with a little nub there if we can, so it'll give it strength. If you'll notice, mine has worn away a little bit. However, I mean, it's holding up pretty good for 10 years old. Anyway, so easy stuff, and next we'll look at a piece of river cane. Matter of fact, this one right here that I've got is one we chose to make this demonstration video with. So you'll come over here and take a look at it with me at the table. So pages 140 through 144 of our book describe how to make a PVC bow staff flute. And our bow staffs flute that we offer on our website are made out of oak. They're really strong, very sturdy, one long piece of oak and just really hard as a rock. This PVC here, however, makes an excellent bow staff flute in my opinion. This was the first PVC flute I have ever made. We made it, like I said, about a year ago just to see what would happen. So, been making flutes for 30 years and still haven't made one out of PVC until just recently because it's not an interesting material to me. PVC is readily available. Of course, people can use it to make just about anything with these days, from furniture. I've seen a guy build a car out of PVC. You can build all kinds of stuff with it, and for the fact that it is Schedule 40, very hard PVC, I thought, well, you know, that would make a good bow staff simply because it's so hard. Now, the convenience of it being hollow already, yes, we'll make a flute out of it. However, we don't offer these for sale on our website at this time simply because it's a PVC. You know, it's very simple and not necessarily the best tone quality in the world of Native American flutes. However, the one we built, and if you haven't watched the demonstration video for it, it's also available here on YouTube. We have a video specifically making this PVC bow staff flute, which turned out really great, and I think it sounds really nice, but still not my favorite material to work with. So, having said that, I've usually had river cane and or bamboo available, and here is a description from start to finish of everything that you need on page 140, as well as the steps. Places to put the fingerings over here on 141, shows you the measurements in both millimeters and in inches from the top to the bottom, so that you can make it however you like. This guy here would make a low E flute as long as you follow this pattern specifically. Having said that, PVC is always the exact same size and diameter. River cane, however, is not always the same size and diameter, and it's because I've worked with it so much that I've gotten pretty good at guesstimating how thick the wall is and this kind of thing, which I'm about to show you. And when we get to it, I believe we may go ahead and use one of our schematics pages here as a size, let me see what we've got here. There's some high tone ones. I think this piece of material I've got is a little bit bigger than a high tone. Let's see what else we got here. Here's a, excuse me, these are the high tone flutes, and these are the others in metric. Gosh, am I having a problem navigating my own book? Little joke there. Anyway, so we've got several different options. We have a G here, which is probably very close to where he's going to want to be. And then we also have the 6-hole flutes. I think I'm going to make this one a 5-hole simply because I prefer to make 5-hole flutes in our videos, and it keeps everybody happy with regards to the modern versus the old-time types of flutes. So let's save this page and look at our material, what we have to work with. This piece of river cane, as you probably have noticed, has a little nub right here where there was a limb, and it also has one down here on the next link, so you can see what it looks like. The bottom of it is still hollow. I didn't save the plug on that one, so we're going to have to do something about that, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then the top of this one is a little knurled where I cut it with a machete. That's kind of what that looks like, and it's a little dirty still too. Got some mud out there, and I've measured it and marked it right here because this particular one is going to Germany, and it has to be 46 inches or less. So this is going to be kind of a mid-size walking stick flute, and I believe it's going to turn out really great. Next, let's go over to cut this off and find some plugs for the ends. Okay, so first we're going to cut the end off of this guy where we marked it. One thing I'd like to mention that I sometimes forget to is that when you cut things round on just about any kind of saw, whether it's a scroll saw or a table saw or a bandsaw, even a chop saw, because it's round and the way the blades go around in circles, they tend to want to grab it and pull. So this is cutting something round on any saw is just, unless it's a handsaw, it's very dangerous. And if you're not comfortable doing this kind of thing, please absolutely don't. Make sure you wear all of your safety goggles. See, I've got my goggles right there. And make sure that you're prepared. Having said that, I'm not instructing you to go out and do this. You can do this of your own free will if you decide. Anyway, I think that's enough disclosures, right? So what we're looking for is something we can put down in there. Of course, we could put a piece of oak inside of it. That would be a little contrasting. Or sometimes when we cut river cane pieces, we wind up with a scrap like this, and it has an end left on it. And this end is very thick-walled, which is great for something that needs to be in the end of a walking stick flute. I'm thinking I'm going to sand that guy down to fit in there, and then I've got one likewise. I need to cut the end off of that. And it is going to go in the bottom because the bottom of this one's open already as well. So we're going to go ahead and cut these off, and then you'll see me sanding them on the sander until they fit their respective areas. And after we do that, then we'll trim them up so that they'll fit inside of there perfectly and glue them into place permanently, and you'll get to see that. So let's take a look over here. Okay, so that is the easy part. Actually, that was probably the hard part. Not too big of a deal, however. So the first thing we're going to do is use some cyanacrylic glue, my favorite old pal here. This stuff soaks into wood, and from a woodworker's perspective, I'll tell you that having built furniture and houses and gas stations and whatever else in the world, I've built a car or two that I have made. Let's see. This stuff is very good at what it's made for, which is holding just about anything to anything. I remember the advertisements when I was a kid for one you might know of called Crazy Glue. Still what super glue is called in several countries, and some people in this country still call it Crazy Glue. Crazy Glue is a brand, just like people call Kleenexes when really they're just facial tissues. Really neat, huge companies, been around for a long time. Lots of neat ideas. However, Crazy Glue was just majorly super glue. And today I like to use just about any kind of this stuff myself. Let's see. I know you see me fitting this one in here a minute ago. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. One thing you want to do too is be careful not to force the river cane in here. If it's too big, you don't want to force it, because river cane breaks when you do that. There are certain angles that you could pry it or bend it at that would cause it to break, and you just don't want to do that. Bamboo, river cane, it's all about the same with regards to that particular about it. Okay, and what I'm doing is turning this around in the circle so that it can get that glue just about everywhere. And usually I'd give it a little bit of time and wait and let it dry. However, I know how this stuff works, and we can go ahead and cut it off. Ooh, it's bigger than this little shop. Here's a good piece of scrap. Okay, another good little piece of scrap material there for something or another. I left some of it poking out. I'm going to sand that off. It helps to seal it if you do it that way rather than cut it flush. See, a little bit more of this happy stuff just to make sure it's sealed up nice. This acrylic glue is really some powerful whoopie-joo. It's like I always say though, this ain't rocket science. So, let's see, we're letting that guy do his thing. Let's go ahead and sand the end off of this one here just a second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sand the end of this a little bit more round. It's kind of scratchy. Okay, so we've done that. We have a nice end, very smooth, very comfortable in there, and a very nice end here, which is really solid and good for poking on the ground. We still have these little pieces raised up. We're going to sand off in a moment, right here too. Usually I like to put the track and block right there. However, I'm not sure how we're going to do it, because there's one other thing I do with walking stick flutes is see where they're balanced. This guy here is balanced so that this area I normally put the track on is just a little bit offset. Still perfect for making a flute. If you hold it over here like this, you'll notice it rolls right back. So, and if you do it the other way, it does the same thing. I like to have it balanced because that's the way that the river cane feels the most comfortable in your fingers and in your hands. Having said that, we're going to put our mouthpiece up here, one of the last things we do. First, we need to mark these holes. And as I had mentioned, it looks like about a typical almost 7/8 of an inch in diameter piece of river cane. Now, you can guesstimate between the size it is here and the size it is down here. This one's really quite tiny. I think it's maybe around 3/4 and up here it may be around probably 15 sixteenths or at least 13 sixteenths. It's much larger. From here to here, however, and it is tapered, so we have a taper to work with, I'm guessing that this will probably make an F-sharp flute based on its size being close to 7/8. It may be a little squirrely. We might have a hole that needs to be a little sharp or a little flat or something that'll be offside of the pattern, because this, once again, is a natural material, not something that we hollowed out ourselves to be a specific size. So let's look in the book here, find F-sharp flute, and then we'll mark it, go drill it, and then we'll be just about done with this guy. Okay, so I finally located in my book, which was actually the page I was on. I was looking at the metric side and not the other side. I was thinking, why is this so small over here? Anyway, so here's the standard measurement side for a F-sharp flute and an E flute, like we did with the bow staff video, a D, C, and a B. Those are really low tone flutes, the high ones on the previous page. However, we're going to take the measurements for the F-sharp, and using my handy dandy ruler here, remember, right where we had this thing set for marking the flute, it needs to be just about like that. And the reason it's rolling over like this is because a piece of it's a little warped. So we're going to put our, let me hold this right here, we're going to put our sound hole right about, let me move that, there we go, right about there. And then we're going to lay this ruler on top. Some people are thinking, why don't you just use a round ruler? And the next thing we're going to do is, based on the book, we're going to go to 5.5. Don't forget, this ain't rocket science. I know I've said it once in this video, but you see me moving the ruler, it is okay. The next one is 6 5/16. So there's 6, and where would 5/16 be? So this is an 1/8, so that's 2/16. And this is 4/16, which puts 5/16 right in between there. We're just going to make sure we have this guy lined up. And we're going to put our hole right about there. Remark that one. The next hole we need to make is going to be 8 inches. So let's put number 8 right there. Okay. And then 9 1/4, which is easy enough. It's got a mark on this ruler. Of course, I do have finer graded rulers. However, this one works just fine. We have 10 5/16, and we learned up here that 5/16 is in between the third line, which is actually the quarter, and the second line, well, excuse me, the second line, which is a quarter, and the third line, which is the 3/8. We're going to go over here, 10 5/16. Make sure we've got this jobby still lined up right. We got 10 5/16, basically right there. I hear my bird friends out there waiting to talk to me with anticipation. So the next piece is going to be the bottom hole of this flute. Now, I know from my experience with working with these guys that usually they are a little shorter. They need to have their bottom sound hole a little shorter than where you have it based on our marks in the book here. Simply because it is the bottom of the flute is closed right now, and that closure causes some back pressure. The back pressure pushes back up the flute when it's playing, even with a big opening here, like we're going to put. The back pressure will cause it to go very flat, in which case you'll have to open this up quite a bit more, and then, well, long story short, just follow these instructions. On our book, schematic says 16 inches, and I know I told everyone in the book it allows a little bit to compensate for minor differences in your equipment, your tools, how you make yours, and so on and so on. And what I'm going to do is mark this one here at about 15.5. Let me ask my camera person, because she is the master of walking stick flutes. Does that look like a good idea? Okay, so we have the approval of the walking stick flute master here, and that's where we're going to put that. Now, as far as the mouthpiece, what I like to do, and of course, if this is for a customer, it may vary from one person to another, but I know, generally speaking, that as a human being, we are all born very similar to one another. What I like to do is hold this guy up like this and rest my mouth where it feels like I'm going to want to put my mouth, which is right there. And you can kind of feel it based on the length, the overall length of the flute. It has to do with weight is the reason I do this, because the weight of the flute may weigh a little bit more on this end. I usually try to build the flute in the middle of these two ends and not have a really short handle up here and a really long bottom piece, simply so that the whole thing's balanced when you play it, because you want to be able to hold this and play it for a long period of time like that. And there we go. So let's go drill these out, then we'll start burning them and get it tuned up and ready to play. So as you noticed, I changed the bit out so that I could make a larger hole down here. This is very, very dangerous with regards to drilling. The material, this river cane, wants to split when you drill it in the first place. But I like to use Forstner bits, which help keep them from splitting. Of course, it's still challenging in its own way. And what I'm going to do is use this, I think it's about a 5/8. It helps if it's nice and sharp. Anyway, so we'll change out the bit again. Okay, so as you know, I've changed out my bit here again for the flattening of this area up here. This is where the track is going to be. I like to use my little 1.5 Forstner bit for that. That's not too shabby, and then we're going to sand this down. And while I'm doing that, you'll see me sand this and sand the bottom one too at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and burn the holes out like we always do and tune the flute. We're of course not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you the process of tuning, simply because we've got countless videos on tuning flutes, and that is the longest time taking part of making a flute. I mean, making one that's in a specific key. And once again, we may decide to traditionally tune this one. However, just going to start off with a couple of burning tools and some holes, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we've done that, and we went ahead and did one other thing that I didn't tell you I was going to do. It's burning the links around here. We have a video that you'll find in the description that tells you how to darken river cane, and part of the reason we do this is to make the link area a little bit stronger. Now, a long time ago, Indian people burnt the link areas of blowguns to straighten them, and that's part of the straightening process. But we do it not to straighten it, rather to make it stronger. And then down here at the bottom, we do it there too, because it does make the bottom quite a bit stronger for durability purposes and that kind of thing. So next we're going to do one little thing here that I think you'll find kind of interesting and very helpful when you're working with river cane. I know we've talked about this in other videos. If you put just a little bit of this old super glue, cyanacrylic glue, on the cyanacrylate, I'm sorry, I heard some guy in the background of that video. I should say cyanacrylic because we're in the South. Camera person. Anyway, so I put a little bit there, put a little bit over here to give it some solidification. Another southern word. Guess to have some solidification. I grew up in a really small community. Oh my goodness. Really interesting. We had some neat words. And could you throw me that cleaning rag back there real quick? Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just soak some of that up and then see if we can make it look presentable. What that does is it soaks into the open pores. When we sand into a piece of river cane here, if I don't burn it, which I did in this area, the open pores are exposed and they leak out moisture, which causes the internal structure of the river cane to collapse on itself, thereby eventually cracking. If we seal it off with this, it actually goes not only a step further than sealing it, we also cause it to harden that area right there, which is a really big, positive, good, happy flute making thing. It's not rocket science. Anyway, so we did that. One other thing that we want to do here is use my old sink snake here, my old cleaning rod, put it in the larger of these holes down at the bottom, and very carefully use it to clean out some of the fibers. You'll see some of them flying out. River cane, unlike bamboo, has a different type of what I always call bamboo paper inside of it. Bamboo has like an actual paper membrane that you can pull out. River cane has a kind of a dusty one. Sometimes river cane has the papery type membrane, and usually it's only around the ends that they have it like that, whereas bamboo can have it the full length of the bamboo. And once in a, 10 billion pieces of river cane, you might find one like that too. Sometimes they forget who they are. It's okay. And then we'll blow this out with the air compressor. Before I do, I wanted to show you how to clean this area, because this is also a very important area to clean. It's kind of I like to use a rotary tool or a Dremel for that. This flute, I've already checked it, which I'll play for you in just a moment, but where I put the hole is perfect, so it's exactly in tune. We don't want to change that by making it larger. However, sanding it a little bit does help, and then some sandpaper. You just kind of follow this real simple, put your finger in the middle of it like that, and kind of go around real gently. Happy little flutes. That'll make it a little softer to the touch in case your grandchild runs up to it and says, "Hey, what's this? Oh, that's nice. I like that. It's not as sharp as I thought it was going to be." Having said that, you may not want to let your grandchild touch the inside of your flute. Still may be some splinters and whatnot. That does happen. Okay, the camera's probably jiggling again there. Lots of funny stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and blow it out, and then we'll see what it sounds like. Let's see. A little bit of air on the subject. Ooh, hey, how about that? That was entertaining. Sometimes I wonder if my last name should have been Chaplin instead of Mato-Toyela. Little joke. Anyway, so still got lots of them fibers floating around the shop. Camera person back there is just about to die laughing. So we've done that. One other thing I didn't show you that we like to do occasionally is hit this with some steel wool. Now we have this in our videos. However, one reason I want to mention it now is because I seen a little something on that fingering, and doing this, my gosh, is it soft at this point. So if you run steel wool over the whole length of the river cane, it'll clean it up and make it smooth all the way around. And it doesn't take off as much as sandpaper will, which will expose more pores and allowing it to leak out that all-important internal moisture. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and tie our block on like so. Yep, you guys are going to get to watch me tie a block on. It's a special, it's a red letter day. Let's see, around there and around there. Once more. And now I'm going to tell you, never stick leather in your mouth. This is how you should not do it. It's just a lot easier for me that way. So we did that. I'm going to pull a little tight. This is some major industrial leather lace we've made. Yes, and we make our leather lace. Used to buy it, not anymore. The stuff we make is far superior to most of that. Okay, you ready? Let's see what happens. That's a good flute. I like that one. It even has my little seal of approval. How about that? So the next thing we'll do, which I think I want to show you real quick, this is a special bottle that has a special mixture of special oil that we use on all of our special flutes, especially. And I'm just going to dab some of that in there. Anyway, yep. I've got young subscribers out there, I know. Dab just a little bit. I can hear some of them saying, "Oh, no, he didn't." Let's see. I'm seeing if the oil has run down to the sound hole, which it doesn't look like it has. So I need to put some more. That's one way you can tell you used enough. Yes, I know it's dripping on my hand. It's okay. It's easier to be more articulate with this when you're not doing it in front of a camera. Okay. You don't want to let too much of it run. Oh, there we are. How about that? Perfect. I don't let it run into the track because then you got to take it apart and clean it again. Gosh, it's time consuming. So I'm letting it run inside of the flute right now. So when you pour it in there, it's only dripping down the back side, and you want to let it run around. And that's really it. So dry some of this off a little bit. I like to put a nice healthy coating of, so grab some right here, of our flute wax on the inside of this area, simply to keep it nice and sealed off, because is another place where air and moisture can leak out. And that's got it. And there you have it. Really nice walking stick flute, 46 inches, long enough to ship to another country, and big enough for someone like myself who's 6 feet tall that needs a walking stick. So it's a good one. I like it. I think it's a great flute. And once again, these are available on our website, of course, bluebearflutes.com. If you guys have any questions, comments, would like to see some other videos, like this one was one that people have asked us for several times. We thought we'd, hey, go ahead and take an opportunity to show you how to make an actual river cane walking stick flute. Feel free to send us a message and let us know that you'd like to see more of that kind of thing, or what kind of videos you are interested in. We're always open ears here for new ideas, and we've got a lot of really neat ones coming up. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Once again, Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for bluebearflutes.com. Happy flute playing and happy flute making. Take care.